Hello, everyone.
Hello!
Here are the books that we read, not during Tome Infinity and Beyond.
Yes.
If you want to see that, it should be out already.
We'll link it below.
Sure. Yeah. All those are sci-fi books. There's I read 6, and so just go check it out.
Yep.
Okay.
This is what we read in September. This is what we read in September other than that.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Christina.
And you're watching
Game of Tomes. Mentioned this in our Tome Infinity and Beyond. I did some things to my house. There's
yeah.
New shelves. I keep wanting to say, they're much better in person, you guys. Trust me.
They are.
It's just not spaced great for filming.
Yes.
And we refuse to stand. So.
We do. We were thinking about getting, stools so that we can be, higher up so that you could see, more than one shelf, maybe.
Yeah, but I want stools with backs, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be so much better.
Do they make those?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway.
You read some things I'm really excited to see.
Let's dig in.
We both have 5 things to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we did. Okay, I do want to say real quick. September was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
We had BNF. Jess got a lot of things going on personally and, of course, with work and just, ugh. Yeah. So when we sat down to film this morning, just a little bit ago, whatever, I was looking and we both, blew it out of the water this month, which I was so surprised.
Yeah. I didn't read a whole lot physically, but I did go through a bunch of graphic novels and audiobooks. So yeah.
This is probably the best reading month I've had, in a year, I would say.
Since you started work.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I was like, wow, go me.
Go you.
That felt great.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
So
here we go.
Okay, you go first because I want to know what you thought.
Yeah, I finished Stardust by Neil Gaiman September 8th, so it's been a while. And I know I hit kind of a brick wall in the middle of my reading started to kind of slump a little bit, but I finished it and I gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed it. And I wasn't in love with it.
Yeah.
But I think if that little bit of slumpiness didn't happen, that would have been easier and I would have, if I would have just read it quicker, which is, I feel like what I say about every book. So this boy, Tristan, lives in a town called Wall, and it's walled off from, this meadow in the outside world. Well, he falls in love with this girl in his village, and she's like, whatever. And he's like, I will go and catch that falling star for you. And so he does, and I feel
That's a spoiler.
Can I say that?
No.
Okay. Do I start over now?
No, we can I'll creatively edit that.
Okay, so he goes on an adventure to go and find the star, and it also brings about, some personal revelations about himself, and there's, other people who want to get the star for powerful reasons, and so it's kind of we're gonna get you. And, it was a fun, little adventure story. And this is only my second Neil Gaiman book I've ever read. I read Neverwhere, and I wasn't in love with that one either. But I did enjoy this one more.
Yes.
So I'm not counting Neil Gaiman out by any means because I enjoy it. So
cool. Yeah. I, however, read it a few years ago, I guess just before we started our channel.
Yeah. And
I loved it. I loved how it was an adult fairy tale.
Yeah.
I really liked the language, and I thought the story was great, and I loved it. I 5 stars. Love it.
Isn't there a movie?
Yes, there is, and I didn't realize I had seen the movie until after I finished the book because it's just so different in tone.
Oh, interesting.
But it's a good movie.
Yeah.
It had been years. I watched it with Megan from Tome Infinity when we were in high school.
Whoa.
At her house.
Our 10-year reunion was last month, so.
Yeah.
We didn't go.
No. I would have gone.
Sorry.
Things happened.
Yeah. And she didn't go, and I was like, well, if you're not going, I'm not going.
And then Megan was like, if y'all aren't going, I'm not going.
We all bailed. And then one of our other friends in our book club was like, she messaged me, was like, where are you at? And I was like, yeah, I'm not there. So I felt bad. But,
that's funny.
What is? Sorry. Your turn.
Oh. So I read Giant Days Volume 1 by John Allison. Interesting. It was a dude that wrote it. It's about the 4 girls, ladies who are roommates in college in the UK somewhere, and it's a fun, comedy type thing. And it wasn't for me, and I think part of it is that I didn't always, wasn't always on board with the humor, and just didn't really care about the storyline all that much. And it was like very serialized. Each issue within the volume had its own like arc.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I liked it. I don't think that I will continue on.
Yeah.
I gave it 3 stars.
Mm.
It was good.
Okay.
I just wasn't super excited about it.
I'm pretty sure once upon a time in our In Real Life book club, we were picking one graphic novel and one book each month, and I'm pretty sure that was picked one time, but we didn't read it because we didn't have access to it, and then that was also the time period where we're like, we're not going to keep buying these. I want to say it was picked one time, but I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but it was alright.
I have heard of it though, for sure. And
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Next, I reread a book, which
wow.
like I don't do.
Wait, I don't either hardly.
But I still keep them. I reread The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater.
Oh.
Stiefvater.
Stiefvater.
Stiefvater. I read this last year.
Yeah.
And I loved it. I'm pretty sure I gave it like 4 stars.
Mm.
And I've been kind of feeling like, ooh, I want that kind of paranormal, and I need to continue on with that. And when I was going to pick up the second book, I was like, oh man, I don't remember Jack from the first one. And so I started to watch some discussion videos, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to reread it. And I did. I really loved it just as much a second time around, and it was a good refresher.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gave that 4 stars again. And Raven Boys follows this girl named Blue, whose family is a bunch of psychics, and then she kind of gets involved with some boys at a private school, and they are kind of hunting for Glendower, which is this Welsh king. There's a bunch of folklore about him and like raising him back, and there's like a lot of paranormal stuff going on in this town of Henrietta, Virginia, and it's just kind of like a fun like adventure story, and then you kind of find out more about each person and what role they may play in this, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's great.
Was that a good description of it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. I've never read it, and I would maybe like to.
I really did enjoy it, and I know like I have heard some people say that they didn't like it as much once they found out that there was a bit more paranormal stuff in it than what they expected, but yeah, I'm really into that, so I was like, cool. Mm-hmm. Which by paranormal, I mean, I just mean like, you know, ghosts and psychics and things like that. There's no vampires and werewolves or that kind of side of it, but yeah, I liked it.
Cool. I didn't know that about ghosts being in the Raven Boys.
Yeah.
So, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's a cool storyline. Like, it's exciting, and it's also, like, it's just enough of, like, their personal lives and, like, the characters' feelings and emotions, but also, like, here's a storyline that we're still, like, continuing with. Mm-hmm. That I thought it was a good balance, and, yeah. It's like, a fun read for me.
When are you going to pick up the second one?
I'm currently reading it. Oh! Yeah. I picked it up a week or 2 ago. I thought I would read it a lot faster because I would like read the first one again like super quick. Mm-hmm. But Tom Infinity was going on, and I was trying to like really cram in a graphic novel for that, and it's like different though, because in the first one it's sometimes like we're in the perspective of the characters, but in this one it's like we're following. It's more into like some of the other characters that you didn't get from in book 1, and then like this other person is introduced that you're like, I'm into it, but like starting it really kind of threw me off because it felt a bit different for some reason for me than the first one. Okay, but I'm intrigued.
All right,
because it's still going into like the main storyline of this legend, and now more people are like, wait, we want in on this, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Oh, then we both read The Lie and How We Told It by Tomie Parrish.
Mm-hmm. I only picked this up because we share a Hoopla account, and so when I got on and saw that you had gotten it, and so I was like, yeah, I'll read that. And I ended up giving it 4 stars.
Me too.
I thought it was kind of timely because of our 10-year reunion. Mm. And then these 2 characters meet, and they haven't seen each other since school or whatever, and then they're just like, hey, you want to go hang out? And they're like, yeah, okay. And then it kind of comes about, they talk about, one of them is queer, and then the other one is like, I do things too, but I'm not queer though. And so it was just,
I think it was a lot about like how we try to fit into this box, and the lies that we tell ourselves in order to be the way that you want to present to everyone else. It was really poetic.
Yeah.
And beautiful, and I enjoyed it. I love the art style. It was really different and weird and painted.
Yeah,
it was Australian too. It was from an Australian author. I found it when I was looking for stuff for Tome of Infinity and Beyond.
I didn't even tell you that I picked it up or anything.
No.
I just saw it one day, and I like to read on my lunch break because I'm trying to like not sit on Facebook on my breaks at work, and so then I just get on Hoopla, and I've been trying to just read graphic novels. So I was like, yep, I'll do that one.
Mm-hmm. Were you surprised or?
Yeah, I was I started it, and then like the art style is so different. I was like, whoa. And then when like they met and then they're hanging out, and it kind of is like just one night of them hanging out, I believe. And they kept talking about like, it was so interesting to me because like if I meet people from my past, it's just like, oh, hi, how are you? And then like generic talk. But in this, it was kind of like more serious, you know? Mm-hmm. And it was like, it got me thinking about how like people can just be like very generic, and we don't talk about serious things or like really ask people like, really though, like, how are you? Because everybody's just like, oh, I'm great. How are you? And like, it's not, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought it was like, I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Me too. Okay, so I did something really cool, and I finished the Kingsbridge series with A Column of Fire by Ken Follett, read by the wonderful John Lee, who I've come to love. And I just look up his name and like look at the stuff he's narrated because I just enjoy listening to him so much. This one was the shortest of the three at 30 hours. The other ones were like 40 and 42 hours.
Yeah.
And I kind of think maybe it suffered a little bit for that, which is weird.
Really?
Yeah, the book itself is like 900 pages.
Right.
They all take place over this long period of time, and this one takes place in a time when Protestants and Catholics were at war with one another and were like killing each other over it in Europe. And all the other books, this one was totally different. The other ones take place like just in Kingsbridge, but this one we go to Spain and we're sailing in the Caribbean and stuff. But they always like meet up back in Kingsbridge. And Ken Follett is one of my favorite authors ever. He's just so good at characters and he's so good at story. And this one just got like a little too in the weeds with the politics, I think, maybe. For me personally, his other books are very politically driven, but this one just kind of like
went on and on and on about it.
I really, really enjoyed the first half, and then the second half was just like, who's going to be queen next for a long time?
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay. But yeah, I'm really super glad that I finished this series, and I would like to continue on. I have his Century Trilogy, the first book, physically. I'm excited to get to it because I know, like, I could just put myself in his hands.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, anyway, yeah.
Good job on finishing it. What did you rate it, ultimately?
This one, I think I gave 3 stars. Like a good, happy 3 stars.
What would you give the series overall?
5 stars.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
There's only 3, though. It's a trilogy, or is there 4?
There's 3, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they all take place in a different century and, like, time. Yeah. But they all, like, centralize around this one place, and we get to see how that place grows and how it's formed. And,
that's cool.
Yeah. The thing that I really like about it is that it starts out with these, this one had a lot of the same things in that it started out with these 2 young lovers who were torn apart, and there are these horrible, evil villains, but they're complicated, and we get to see like why people are the way they are, and then we see them grow up and get old and their children, and it was just, it's epic. All of it is epic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So for our In Real Life book club, my book was picked.
Yay!
Which is rare for me because half the time I don't really suggest one anyway. But I was wanting something spooky. And I picked A Handful of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. What did I say?
Hand?
A Handful of Ghosts.
Well,
A Head Full of Ghosts by Paul Tremblay. I want to say I first heard about this from Samantha Leanne.
I think I did too.
From Leanne's Lit. And I was like, that sounds good. Because I really am intrigued by like, listen, okay, I like exorcism stories, but they scare the crap out of me. But I want to be scared. Okay. So.
Right, yes.
It doesn't make sense. So this follows a family that moves into a house and it's from the perspective, it's from the perspective of a girl and her sister.
The youngest daughter in a family.
The youngest daughter in a family, and they were on a TV show, a reality TV show about her sister being possessed. And so you get the two timelines of her explaining this to an author who was going to write a book about her life, and then you also have her as a child recounting what happened. And she's like very young at this point, so it's kind of like an unreliable narrator, but not in like that thriller kind of way, which kind of annoys me a lot with thrillers. Yeah. Which is why I think I'm like, eh.
It was done well here.
But it was done really well here because there were some twists and turns and I was like, whoa. Yeah. Didn't see that coming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. As we listened to it on audio, but it just goes through the story of what happened. And it's a wild ride.
It is. I really liked it for the ending, especially.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of great discussion in our book club about how it ended and like what it all meant.
Yeah, that was really interesting. I really enjoyed that.
I did too. Yeah. So it was a really great book. I gave it a big thumbs up, 4 stars.
I gave it 5 stars.
Yeah,
I loved it. Yeah. And I would definitely re-listen to that.
I would too.
Yeah. I was just like in it. And I was like, what? And even one of the other girls in our book club was like messaging me and she's like, have you finished a book? And I was like, yes. And she's like, this is a wild ride. And I was like, oh, I know.
Okay. And then I read Over the Top, A Raw Journey to Self-Love by Jonathan Van Ness, one of the
Fab Five
co-hosts of the Fab Five, Queer Eye. It came out like last week.
Whoa.
Yeah. JVN goes through and talks about his childhood and what a hard time of it he had with bullying, and because he was very flamboyant and he could never really hide that part of himself. Even though
I'm so sorry. You said JVN? Is that his?
Jonathan Van Ness, JVN.
Oh, JVN. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good. He's JVN on Instagram.
Okay, sorry.
He talks about going to rehab and the addictions that he had to drugs and sex and the destructive behavior that he had, and he has been through so much in his life, but also at the same time the book was really positive and he has just like this energy about him that makes you like want to befriend him, you know?
Yeah.
And so I loved everything about this, and I think that everyone should read it. He just came out about the fact that he is HIV positive.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and the stigma around that, and how it's really a treatable disease now where it used to not
Thankfully,
be. Yeah. And how he's not even contagious anymore because of the drugs that he takes.
But, I mean, when you hear HIV, people are like...
Yes. Ugh. And he was like, when he found out.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But he's speaking out about it now.
Did he say
raising more awareness about what it's like now.
Right. Did he say what year he was diagnosed? I'm just curious.
I don't remember.
In comparison to like where treatment was at that time period.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't recall.
That's okay.
Anyway, I loved it and I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was really beautiful, and he had me choking up in at times and laughing out loud, and there was that whole range of emotions there. Yeah. It was really beautiful, and I'm glad I listened to it.
Good.
Yes, I love the fact that we could just hear people tell me their life story, and like what a gift it is, you know, that he gave us, because he didn't have to share all that stuff with us.
Yeah, you never owe anyone anything.
Yeah. And so I feel...
Way to ruin the mood, Cass.
I just feel like what a privilege it is to listen to him himself tell his story, and I loved it.
Well, and it's I really love when people do open up about their stories when they want to and when they're brave enough to, because people go through a lot of different things, and that can help a lot of people either realize things that they didn't think about before, or it can help people not feel alone.
Yes.
And so
exactly.
I mean, it's just, I don't think it's ever a bad thing for someone to come forward and say, this is my story, and if you want to listen to it, here it is, you know?
Yeah. Right on. It was really, really good.
I also ended my month on a very high note.
Oh, good.
With Blue is the Warmest Color.
Oh, yeah.
By Julie Moreau and Ivanka, Hattenberger.
Oh.
How was that?
I don't know.
Ivanka was the translator.
Okay.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah, was it French?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was French. So this is a graphic novel. It is very popular, but if you don't know, it follows a girl kind of growing up and discovering that she may be gay, and it follows just her love story with her partner, and it's just it was so good. It was so good. And I don't know, it was just a really nice love story, and just to see like her grow as a person. She was quite young, and then she met an older girl who was already knew that she was gay, and then you kind of see her kind of go through like this denial that she isn't, and then she realized, okay, yes I am, and it's just like, yeah, it was.
I would say bisexual.
Bisexual?
Yeah.
Is that what she?
I think so.
I can't really remember entirely.
It's been a while since I read it.
Yeah, so, yes, I think you're right. But it was really, really good. And, I mean, it's kind of, it was, like, sad, but it was, like, so sweet. And it definitely had me, like, tearing up at the end, because it tells you, I don't know if I should say that. Like, it tells you at the very beginning that, like, she's dead.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. Because it starts out with her Emma going to her mom, Clementine's mom's house, her parents' house, and then reading her diaries and stuff. But, yeah,
it's a tragedy.
Yeah. And I really liked the artwork as well.
Yeah.
It was a very, like, I just really liked how, at some parts, it was very kind of, like, not like sepia tone, but something like that. And then, like, the only thing with color was, like, Emma's blue hair. And it just kind of really highlighted these things, you know? I really enjoyed that.
Great.
I don't have much to say about it, because, like, that's all that happens. It's just their love story. But it's so much into it, and you really see, like, their growth, and it's a beautiful story.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry this was so late in the month.
Yeah.
But things happen.
We didn't film last week, and so it just...
Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Life happens. But here we are.
Here we are.
Thanks for watching.
When you play the game of Tums,
you read or you die.
Tell me your friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Bye.
She take my money. Okay.
I knew you were singing Goldie.
Oh, I was.
I was. Okay, go ahead.
It's one of those that gets stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, I have it. I don't even listen to that song. Like, I don't know. It's just like an earworm that I've had for years. Okay.
That's a weird way to put that. Okay.
All right.